Hello, welcome to a gentle yoga practice. You may need a little something to sit on, so a small towel, pillow, or blanket. And then we're also going to use a belt in this practice. So if you have a yoga strap, that's great, or an actual belt or necktie. Sometimes even a small towel will work. But you'll need something to help you pull on some kind of long object, and then also we'll do that work where we're reaching around the bottom of the foot. So once you've got that, we'll start in a seated position. And take a moment to rock side to side between your two sits bones. And find that position where you can sit pretty equally on both sides. We'll turn the palms to face up in the lap and close the eyes. So begin to deepen your breath. Inhaling, feel the heart rise. Exhaling, feel the shoulders drop. Letting each inhale be a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. And the exhales as well. Long, smooth exhale. And staying rooted through those two hips. Lengthen up through the top of the head. Getting a little taller. And again, soften around the edges. So the shoulders drop, the hips drop, while remaining tall through the spine. Exhale. So emphasizing that uplift on your inhale. And emphasize the relaxation, the dropping down on the exhale. So you stay tall, but the hips and the shoulders drop, the hips relax into the ground. Until you find this posture which is so tall and so soft. So you want all of that height in your posture and none of the tension, none of the rigidity. So we find this balance between brightness and softness, effort and ease. And we can dedicate this practice to finding that balance of effort and ease within each posture. And then maybe we can take that with us into everything that we're doing for the rest of our day. We apply ourselves, we engage, but we also go with the flow a little bit. And within this balance, we can find physical and mental peace. Let's bring the palms together in front of the heart and really take in that heartfelt intention for balance, for peace. And then blinking the eyes open. Okay, so we're going to start with some simple shoulder rolls, squeezing shoulders up towards the ears and then drawing shoulder blades back together and down. And continuing like that for a few more rounds, just finding a range of motion that feels good. And then continuing to sit up tall through the chest, but drop the chin down. Nice and easy, roll the right ear over towards the right shoulder. And then come on back to center. Roll the left ear towards the left shoulder. And back to center. So continuing with just little semicircles of the head. And you want to let gravity do some of the work, just letting the head drop and roll. So it's the weight of the head that helps to stretch the muscles. Rather than really pressing, definitely not forcing here. We don't want to be pushy with our neck. And so it's the habit of the mind for many of us to, whenever we identify some kind of a project, some kind of a problem, we want to tackle it. And that's really a wonderful thing most of the time. But sometimes we need a little more patience. So when you find those little spots here that feel a little bit like they need attention, you can go slower there. But let the intention be to give that area a little bit more love, a little bit more attention, rather than this idea of tackling that particular tension once and for all. We don't need to be attached to the outcome. Let's have a mindful approach. And the next time you come back down to center, we'll gently float the head back upright. Okay, and then again, shoulder rolls. Great. Let's sweep the arms up over the head on an inhale, and we'll come over to the right, just stretching through the right side. And we'll come on back up, and we'll stretch over to the left. So now we're stretching the right side. And then let's take an easy twist. So that right hand will go behind the back, left hand to the right knee. And again, no forcing. You do want to approach the edge of your range. You want to find that full posture, but not pushing past that edge. Okay, and come back to center, sweep the arms up overhead, and we'll twist to the left. Couple deep breaths there in your twist. Just gently meeting and gently leaning into that edge. And then back to center, sweeping arms up and hands to heart. Okay, we'll do that again. We'll cross the ankles in the other direction. Okay, so arms sweep up overhead. Let's go over to the left side first. And now you might find that that edge has moved. Right, so you don't need to necessarily push the edge. You stay with the edge and there's a natural unfolding. And come on back up. We'll go over to the right. Okay, and then come on up and around to your twist. We'll twist to the left first this time. Let's turn the palm open so that you're pressing the back of the hand into the knee. This is going to help you to lift up your chest, draw the shoulder blades down the back a little bit. On your next inhale, get a little taller, staying in the twist, but lift up tall. And keep that height. Turn to look over your back shoulder. Okay, come on back up to center. Inhale up. And twist to the right, taking the back of the hand onto the knee. Just going to roll that shoulder open so we can more easily lift the chest and bring the shoulder blades together behind us. So finding the general twist here, and then we'll get specific. Find a little more height through the spine, dropping the hips, lifting the head, and then keeping that height, turn and look over the back shoulder. So just increasing the twist a little by little. And then back to center, arms sweep up overhead, and hands to heart. Okay, let's bring the hands to the fronts of the knees and we'll take a little vertical cat-cow. So we inhale, lift the chest, exhale, rock back. So we're coming to the front of the sits bones here, kind of arching the back, and then rocking back onto the tailbone. And you can link this with your breath. So exhaling around the spine, inhaling lift. And you can kind of hang on to the fronts of the shins here to help you get into the space between the shoulder blades a little bit, but be gentle. One more time like that. Okay, now we're going to create some circles. So circling the belly and the waist. There's a little movement in the pelvis here as well. And we're circling in one direction for a little while. Just kind of creating some movement through the abdomen. This is nice for the hips and the low back as well. And these can be smaller circles or more exaggerated circles, just whatever feels good to you. And then letting those circles get a little smaller. And you'll find that they have kind of their own momentum. Right? Sometimes we just need to set something in motion and then there's a natural process. So you can kind of let the rest of that circle, the rest of that momentum just kind of trail off. And we come back to center, pause and close the eyes. Just notice if there's different feeling in the body now after this little bit of work we've done. Okay, and then let's cross the ankles in the other direction again. We're going to circle the other way. So this can resemble your vertical cat-cow a little bit. You can come into a little bit more of a rounded position and a little bit more of an arched position as you move around in these circles. And remember that this can be a small circle or a big circle. I'm going to tune into what feels right in your body. I'm just staying with long, deep breaths. Okay, and then as if you can just let go of all effort now. Just let the rest of the circles happen on their own. And that momentum will start to trail off. And your job is just to not resist that. Just let it be. You'll feel how you're circling more and more subtly right around your center, right around your belly. Eventually you'll come back to stillness. You can close the eyes. Take another deep breath here. All right, and then we're just going to gently fold forward. Lift up, cross the ankles. Fold forward. And then hands can come a little behind you as you cross the ankles. So this is a pretty subtle forward fold. Hands behind you, switch, fold. So we're just trying to get into the hips a little bit, but we're not getting into a really deep, deep stretch here. We're just creating some mobility, kind of coaxing our body into a little bit more movement. You can the hands can come all the way around in front if you'd like, or out to the sides if that feels more comfortable for you. But I do recommend that as you switch the cross of your ankles, you take the hands well behind you, so you've got a little support there. And then you can link this with your breath, exhaling to fold forward, inhaling as you rock back. Okay, now the next time we've got our right ankle crossed in front, we'll stay just one extra breath here. All right, and then walk your hands over to the right a little bit, so you're stretching that left arm forward. You might feel that a little bit more through the waist and maybe the lower back on that left side. And then you can take that left arm and reach it long, kind of at a diagonal, forward and up, over to the right. Good, and then back to the floor, and we'll walk over to the left side. Then you can take that right arm and reach it forward, up and over. I'm going to turn the thumb to point up. And then back to center. Good. Let's do that again with the opposite ankle in front. So fold forward, and we'll start this time going over to the left again. And you might be able to turn your belly across over onto the thigh a little bit more, or the chest come over the knee. Just reach the hips back, lift up through the chest, get a little longer in the spine, so a little less roundness in the spine. You can take that right arm up, thumb points up at the ceiling, reach low. Okay, and then back down, and we'll come back through center over to the right. And see if you can bring your belly or your chest a little bit more over that right thigh. Okay, and then whatever rounding is in your spine, see if you can reach your hips back and lift your chest so you find a little more length there. And then finally taking that left arm forward and up over to that right corner. Thumb pointing up. Nice. Okay, and then back to center. All right, let's take our left leg out to the left. So we've got the right heel in, and we're just going to come over to another side stretch here. And then back up. And then we're going to turn towards the leg and do a little bit of a fold. Okay, so let's try that side stretch again. And then turning your belly towards the left thigh, folding. And again, this can be a kind of a mild stretch, just meeting the edge. Working with long, deep breaths. And let's keep the left foot flexed. We want that left leg to be pretty active here. Okay, and then last one, we're going to turn towards the leg and then stay there for a breath or two. I've got an alarm going off. Okay. And then come on back up. All right, switching the legs. We'll take the right leg out and the left leg in. We'll start with a side stretch. So the right hand comes onto the inseam. We kind of turn open away from the leg and arch over. And then back up. And then we turn towards the leg. So our hands are on either side of the leg now. We turn our belly and our chest towards the leg and fold just a little. Okay, inhale, come up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhaling up, turn towards the leg, fold. Keeping the right leg active, flex the foot, firm the thigh. Just meeting the edge, so mild stretches here, done repetitively, will help to just coax the body into a little bit more mobility. Okay, and let's stay facing the right leg and hold there for another few breaths, drawing the hips back, lifting the chest. And then letting that go. Right, so we're going to make our way to hands and knees, bringing the wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Spread the fingers wide and press down into the whole handprint, so not just the heels of the hands, but also the fingers. Take some weight. And we'll take a couple rounds of your regular cat-cow, lifting the chest. And then exhale, press to the hands around the spine. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Press, press, press. Tuck the tail under. And again. And then back to your neutral spine. We're going to tuck the right toes under and press back through the right heel. Just getting a gentle stretch through the calf and the sole of the foot. You want to keep your chest nice and wide here. Keep the neck long. Okay, and then lifting the back of that right heel straight up towards the sky. So you should feel that in your glute. Try not to let your lower back sway. So draw your navel in a little bit so there's some core engagement. The glute is engaged. Okay, and then exhaling, point the toe, tuck the knee into the chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tuck. And we'll do just one more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tuck. Okay, and then coming back to neutral. Same thing on the other side. So press back through the ball of the left foot, stretching through the sole of the foot. You might even get a calf stretch there. Keep the chest wide. Bring the shoulders away from the ears. Still pressing into the whole handprint. Neck is long. Okay, and then taking the back of the heel straight up towards the ceiling. So the kneecap continues to point down. And take care that you're not in a sway back. So engage through your abdomen. Lift the heel towards the ceiling using your glute. Okay, big breath in there. And as you exhale, point the toe, knee tucks into the chest. We'll just do 3 tucks. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tuck. Okay, and let's rest into child's pose. Hips draw back towards the heels. Reach the arms out long up over your head. Just let the hips get nice and heavy. Okay, and then now we're going to do some circles from child's pose towards up dog. So we're going to send the hips over to the right and then drop the hips down. So we're in like a modified up dog. The knees are on the floor. And then send the hips over to the left as you come back towards your child's pose. And let's do a few more circles in this direction. You're just tracing big circles through space, helping to loosen up through the hips. Let's do one more in this direction. And then switching sides. So from child's pose, the hips go over to the left. Drop the hips into your modified up dog. Just go to the left and back. So when you're in that up dog, you want to keep a little bit of abdominal engagement so that your lower back stays happy there. Let's just do one more and then we'll meet back in child's pose. Take a breath there. Let's activate our arms. So really pressing into those wide fingertips. Lift the elbows off the mat and turn your armpits towards your chest. Okay, and then we'll come to downward dog. So lift the hips up, tuck the toes, and press back. Okay, and then you might like to pedal through the feet. Reach one heel towards the floor, bending opposite knee, and then the other. And switching again. And one more time. And then coming to center. And then you can walk your hands back towards your feet to come to your standing forward fold. The knees might need to stay a little bit bent here. You want to keep the feet parallel rather than turned out. Okay, and then nice bend in the knees, strong belly. Push into your feet and rise to standing. Sweeping the arms up over your head, and as you exhale, hands come into the heart. All right, so now standing, we're going to do some kind of fun exercises, or I hope they're fun, to help with our coordination. So the first one is kind of marching, and we're going to tap opposite knee with opposite hand. And a lot of this kind of cross-lateral movement is really good for our brain, good for our coordination, good for the nervous system in general. Okay, so side to side. Good. Nice. And then we'll take this into a swing. So step your feet out a little bit wider, and we're going to come into a twist. So as we turn to the right, you're going to allow that left heel to come up. So I don't want you to torque your knee at all. You're going to let the heel come with you. And the arms are at about shoulder height, and you're going to bring the left fingertips to tap onto the breastbone. Okay, so coming to center, the toes turn out. So it's a little bit of like a ballet plie. And then you turn over to the left, the right heel comes up, and you tap the right fingertips to the breastbone. Okay, so this is going to be our inhale, exhale, twist. So the arms stay at shoulder height. And we're going to start to pick up the pace a little bit. So it's a brisk breath. And if it doesn't make you too dizzy, you can turn to look over that back shoulder, that back arm. Okay, and then the next time you go to the left, that'll be your last one. And come to center, and now just let the arms swing. So it's a little echo of that twist we've just done. And we just allow the arms to kind of trail and wrap around the waist. Little thumping on the body. Until we come right back to center. The rest of that movement just kind of trails off. And we'll bring the feet just directly underneath the hips now. Okay, so we'll do a little more swinging in the arms. This one can be a little tricky at first. We'll start with the arms up over the head, and we're going to take the right arm forward and the left arm back. Okay, and then when the hands are down by the hips, it's a little plie in the knees. So your arms are swinging in two opposite directions. And you can exhale as you take that little plie, and inhale in this little kind of suspended moment when the arms are up overhead. Yeah, and for many people, the arms will start going in the same direction. So No worries, just play with it. This is a nice thing to kind of practice throughout the week. Ask your friends if they can do it. Okay, and then next time you're up in the top, we're going to go the other direction. So now it's going to be the right arm going back and the left arm going forward. Yeah, and you can link the movement with that kind of brisk bellows breath. Your shoulders might start to feel it. Okay, and then arms come up overhead. Turn the palms to face each other. And then release. Hands down by your sides. Take a moment just to let that energy settle. You might feel a little warmth in your shoulders. Okay, and then we'll come into a little flip. So starting at the front of your mat, we'll take the arms forward and up over the head. And then both hands come forward and down as we fold. Hands come up onto the shins. Take your flat back position. Inhale. And then bend the knees enough to take the hands to the floor. We're going to step our left foot back and come down into a low lunge. Shifting your hips down and forward. You can bring the top of the back foot to the floor or keep it tucked, whatever feels best for you. And then just taking your body upright, bring the arms forward and up overhead. So turning your palms to face each other. And if it helps you to take your hands out at a V shape, then that's perfectly fine. I'd rather have you here than with the arms turned in. So palms face each other. One more breath there. And then release the hands back down. Let's step the back foot forward. Fold in towards the legs. Bend the knees a little. Come up to standing. And then hands in to the heart. Second side, arms over the head. Inhale. Exhaling, fold. Let's step right foot back. Back knee comes down. Take a moment to find your stance. Front knee is over the ankle. And then bring yourself upright. Bring arms overhead. Inhaling. And take the hands out to a V, but find that turn of the arm. And then releasing the hands back down. Step your back foot forward. Fold into the legs. Bend the knees a little again, rising up, and hands to the heart. Let's do it again. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhaling, fold. We'll take left foot back. Back knee comes down. Find your core, sweep the arms right up overhead. Another breath there. Dropping the tailbone, lifting the belly. Okay, and then release the hands back down. Step the back foot forward. Fold towards the legs. Good. Bend the knees as you rise up. And hands to heart. And once more on side two. Fold forward. The right foot goes back. Bring that back knee down. And sweep the arms up over the head. Drop your tailbone. Lift your belly. So you should feel that through the front of the hip. And release the hands back down. Good. Step your back foot forward. And fold. Bending the knees, rise up. And hands to heart. Okay. So now for another standing pose, we're going to come into a quad stretch. So beginning this exercise, you might just want to take some hamstring curls. So you're sort of marching side to side and drawing one heel towards the opposite glute. Okay, and then see if you can hold on to one ankle. Now this is a good use for your strap or your belt. If you can't reach your ankle, you can take your strap, create a little loop there, and then bring the foot into the loop and find the correct amount of tension on that strap so that you can point the knee down, draw the heel towards the glute, and you feel stretched down through the front of the thigh. you're able to hold that ankle, continue to drop the tailbone and lift the lower belly as we did in our crescent. Trying to keep the knee pointing straight down. Okay, and then gently release it back down. Okay, we'll go to the other side. So you might want to do those little hamstring curls for a moment and then try to catch the ankle behind you. Finding your strap if you need it. And sometimes it's helpful to just hold onto a wall, especially if you're using that strap and you're trying to find the foot. Remember to drop the tailbone and lift the belly, point the knees straight down. And then gently release. Okay, so now we're going to return to that kind of cross-lateral pattern where we reach across. And if you want a little challenge, you could even try to reach lower down on the leg, maybe towards the ankle. Okay, and then we're going to go behind the body, so trying to reach the opposite heel. Okay, and crossing front, front, back, back. So you'll notice that you're doing right, left, or maybe you're doing left, right. And that'll switch, so it's pretty confusing, so it takes a little concentration. Let's try to go the other way. So we're going to do 3 in front now. So now I'm doing left, right, whereas I was just doing right, left. And this is one that, if it's confusing, just take some time to revisit it. Sometimes you need to sleep on it and then try it tomorrow. It might change a little bit over time. Okay, good. And then let's return to Tadasana. Feet right underneath the hips. Let's turn the palms to face forward. Just let the heels drop down. Press into the balls of the feet. Standing tall. Okay. Now we're going to come into a wide stance and take a few more standing poses. So let's turn our right leg out and come into a warrior 2. It's a nice wide stance, so you want to be able to sit down into your lunge. And then bringing the arms up to shoulder height. Look over that right hand. Press into the pinky edges of your feet a little bit more. Big toe mounds press, but the arches are lifting. Sink down into your lunge. And we'll take the right elbow onto the right knee. And to modify for any shoulder stuff, just take the hand onto the hip, or sweeping the arm up and over the ear. And we want to turn the palm to face down. So that tricep is hugging in towards the ear. The bicep is moving back towards the tricep is hugging into the cheek, and the bicep is going back towards the ear. Yeah, tailbone is reaching to that back heel. And then come on back up and release the hands to the hips. Let's switch. Going to warrior 2 on the second side. So turning that left knee out. Find that pressure into your feet where the balls of the feet are taking some weight. It's not just the heels. You also want to press into the pinky edges of the feet. Look over that left hand. Nice deep breath. All right, and then we'll take the elbow to the knee, and feel free to modify hand on hip or stretch the arm over the head. Turning the palm to face down. Keep your tailbone reaching towards the right heel, so your navel's drawn in. And then come on back up, and we'll straighten out both legs. Let's heel, toe, back to center. Okay, we'll do another flow from the front of the mat. So come back to top of the mat, arms sweep up overhead, fold forward, and then bend the knees enough so that you can take the hands down, walk yourself back to your plank pose, and then lower down onto your belly. Okay. let's take tops of the feet onto the floor, tailbone towards the heels, nice strong legs. Then draw your elbows in close by your sides, lift to cobra, and lower back down. Let's do it 2 more times, lifting to cobra, and lower back down. Let's try to press the pinky toes down towards the floor, tailbone towards the heels, lift, and lower. Okay, now arms come out to the sides, kind of like airplane wings, and we're going to try to lift the chest up just using the strength in our back. Lift up a little higher, and then we'll stack one hand over the other and rest the forehead down, rest the hips, rest the legs. Okay, and now we're going to try with the arms overhead. So reach your arms forward, up over your head, and if you can, turn the palms to face each other so that the thumbs are pointing up at the ceiling. Okay, re-engage the legs, tailbone towards the heels, and now we'll lift again. And this is harder than you might think it'll be. Try to lift the thumbs up off the floor, pinky edges off the floor. Good, and then stack up your hands and rest. And shake your hips side to side if they're tired at all. All right, hands come under the chest. Let's go back to child's pose. Just releasing the lower back there. Nice deep breath. And walk yourself back and come to kneeling. Now, if sitting like this on your heels is not comfortable for your knees, then you can come up onto knees, sit cross-legged, stand. Doesn't matter so much. We're just going to address the chest and the shoulders here. So you'll find your belts. And we're going to take a stance on the strap, which is pretty wide, maybe about 3 feet wide. And we're going to stretch the arms up over the head. And then we're going to take the hands back behind you. Now, if you start to feel this is so intense, then take your hands wider apart. And we'll keep a little tension in the strap pulling out as you take the hands back and down behind you. Okay, so again, you can be sitting, you can be standing. Just going to find this motion in our shoulders here. Now, if it's not giving you much of a stretch, you need to take your hands closer. And then you'll notice that right when the strap is just behind your head, you'll feel that big stretch across your pecs. Okay, this next one will be a little different. So taking the arms up, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take one arm long by the ear. So let's say it's the right arm that's going straight out to the side. Now we're going to take this arm straight back behind us, and we're not turning our torso, we're keeping our chest forward. So the idea is that we're bringing this left arm into that outer spiral again via the tension on the strap, via the right arm going back. So turning this left arm, tricep in towards the cheek. Okay, and then from there, if it feels safe, you'll take this back arm down just a touch so that your left bicep will come towards your ear a little bit more. Okay, and then gently release that back up. Come back out to the side with that right arm and switch. So now it's the right arm that's long by the ear, the left arm out to the side. We take that left arm straight back behind us, but try not to bring the chest width. Chest stays forward. So really feel that turn out from your right arm. Okay, I know this can be a lot, so go slow, go gentle. Your hands can always be further apart. Okay, and then if it feels safe, that back arm can drop down, which will bring this right arm into a deeper extension. Okay. And gently release, come on back, and set that strap aside. If you need to shake out your hands, go ahead and do that. Roll the shoulders. Good. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into a variation on camel pose. So we're just gonna be up onto our knees, tuck the toes under, and we're just gonna turn the palms to face in on our back. The thumbs go out to the sides. And we'll drop the tailbone, lift the belly in and up. We'll just start to lift the belly, lift the heart, and then come on back. So we'll do that 2 more times, and if it feels appropriate, we'll try to take one hand to the heel. So drop that tail, lift the belly, lift, 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 and then maybe you can reach the right fingertips to the right heel. We'll take this left arm forward in front of us and up over the head in that same position of the arm, tricep in towards the cheek, and maybe you can start to take that bicep back towards the ear, lift the chest. Good, and then release the left hand back to the lower back, right hand back to the lower back, and rest. It's a big pose, so just a little lift here might be plenty. Okay, we'll do that same thing on the other side, so try to drop the tail, strong lower belly. Maybe if it feels appropriate, you'll take the left fingertips to the heel, and then the right arm stretches forward. The palm is up at first. And then as we go back, 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 we're going to keep our core nice and strong. Maybe the right tricep hugs in towards the cheek. And then we'll release one hand and then the other to the lower back and come on up. Good. Try to sit now on the heels with the toes tucked under. Big toe stretch. And while we're here, let's interlace our hands and make some figure eights with our hands, just releasing through the wrists. If your sensation in your feet is too much, then you can keep your hands on the floor and just gently press back. Go the other way with the wrists if you're still here. Give the hands a shake. And then bring the hands to the floor and tap the tops of the feet to the floor. Okay. So now from here we have the option to take pigeon pose. If you would prefer to come onto your back for figure 4, then you can do that. For pigeon, we'll start in a downward dog, and then we're going to bring the right knee towards the right wrist. And slide the left leg straight back. So if I'm mirroring you, it'll be like this here. And for some folks, the knee is a little bit further in, and that's okay. If this doesn't feel good on your knee, then you'll do a variation laying down on your back. Okay, but those of you who are happy here in your pigeon, you might like to start folding forward and then again stack up the fists so that you can rest down here. Okay, if you're on your back, then you're going to take your right ankle onto the top of the left thigh and turn that knee out to the side, and you might be able to lift the left foot off the ground and hold the back of the left hamstring. You're starting to let your energy settle. Okay. And then gently release and switch sides. So if you're on your back, you're going to simply switch. If you're doing pigeon, then you'll need to press up onto your hands, step back to down dog, and then bring the opposite knee in front. Take a moment to find your hips into a more or less square position. Check in with your knee, go onto your back if you need to, and then you can fold forward, and you might like to use this stacked up fist position so you can rest your forehead down. We'll take a few deep breaths here. And then we'll all make our way onto our back. So if you're not there already, go ahead and lay down. And we're going to want to use our belt for this. Okay, so we're going to come into some nice leg stretches. let's bring the strap around the ball of the right foot and extend it straight up towards the ceiling. Start to draw back on the toes, reach out through the heel, opening up through that calf muscle. And if you can, take the left leg straight out long on your mat. Reach up on the strap as close to the foot as you can so your arms are stretched out. And we'll come out into a half straddle. So now let's hold both ends of the strap in the right hand, and we'll start to let that right leg fall out to the right, stretching through the inner thigh. And come on back to center and pass the ends of the strap into the left hand. And now we're going for a IT band stretch. So we're trying to keep our torso pretty much symmetrical, so your back is still flat against the ground, but your right leg is moving across to the left side of the room a little bit. And you'll feel that stretch from the outer hip down the outer thigh. Let's switch legs. We'll take the ball of the left foot into the strap, and you can either have your right foot on the floor with the knee bent, or if possible, stretch the right leg out long on the mat. And walk your hands up the strap towards the left foot. And just taking some nice deep breaths into the back of the leg. You can draw back on the toes, reach out through the heel. Just meeting that edge and leaning in with a balance of effort and ease. And then we'll take both ends of the strap into the left hand, carry that left leg out to the left, finding your half straddle. Reaching out through the inner heels, feel the inseams grow longer. And then come on back up, pass the ends of the strap into the right hand, and we'll go for that IT band stretch. So we're not really lifting the left hip up off the ground so much, we're just taking the leg across. And then we'll gently let that go. Set your strap aside. Let's hug both knees into the chest. And we'll take a little twist. So knees drop over to the floor on one side. Reach your arms out to the sides. Look in the opposite direction of your knees. And now we'll let the balance shift back towards a little bit more ease, a little bit less effort. As we start winding down, just let gravity do some of the work. And then roll back to center and take your knees over to the other side. You can look in the opposite direction of the knees. Just gently wringing out your spine, your belly. Feel that you can let go into gravity here, and how as you let go, it actually helps you deeper into the pose. And then we'll come back up to center and just float the legs straight up towards the ceiling. And flex and point the feet a couple times. Okay, and then we'll release the feet to the floor and come into our Savasana. Stretching the legs out long on the mat. Turn your palms to face the ceiling. You might want to walk your shoulder blades in under your back a little bit. Make any other little adjustments that will help you to be comfortable. And then beginning to soften. Release all effort. Just let yourself be. Relaxing your face, so the muscles around the eyes and the jaw release. Notice if there's any holding in the neck or shoulders. See if you can melt that away. Letting go. Soften through the length of the arms. Palms and fingertips relaxed. Relaxing the chest and the upper back. Relaxing the belly and the lower back. And relaxing through the hips. Down through the legs. And all the way to the soles of the feet. And for this next minute or so, we'll try to stay present in the body so that there's no physical effort here. But that engagement, that presence, that keeps our energy balanced, right? We're not just completely disengaged, we're here, right? That the engagement is actually with our attention, with our awareness. Balancing a little bit of brightness in our mind, presence in our mind, with all of this softness in the body. Feel the whole body full of this relaxed awareness, soft attention. And then when you're ready, we'll begin to deepen the breath Wiggle the fingers and the toes. And make your way gently up to a seated position. May we bring some of this balance of effort and ease into the rest of our day. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.